This is Rick's Barber, and I'd like to show you some tricks on my horizontal vertical bandsaw. In particular, how to easily set the fixed jaw square, and then how to cut miters on it in a way that might be new to you. The first thing is that what you want is this fixed jaw to be perpendicular to the blade, but the blade flexes. So what I do is I take a piece of bar stock and I lay it in there. It's just clear of the guides on the end. That gives me a nice solid surface to work on. And then I just take a machinist square and I lay it on there. And then it's just a matter of moving the jaw until there isn't any more flexure. There we go. So now it's not rocking back and forth. So I'm going to lock the pivot, take that bar away, and lock the screw on the back that goes in this curved slot. Now I've replaced the movable jaw with this piece of 3/8 inch angle. It seems to work pretty good. So that's a good way to cut pieces that you want to have square, like this. But what if you want to make something like this? And this is a miter. The angles match. And for that, you know that the bandsaw can be set up this way to what I'll call plus 45 degrees, and that's fine. That works. You know, I can take a piece of stock and I can put it in there and I can cut that angle. The problem is, what if I want to cut the other angle, the other side? I have to turn the piece end for end, and that's not always convenient, especially if this is a very long piece or if this is not regular shape, so when I flip it over maybe it doesn't lay flat. So I was scratching my head over that one, saying, well, what do I do if I don't want to flip the part over? So I came up with this modification. First thing I'm going to do is take out this screw on the back side. And I've already carefully measured this angle to be what I'll call minus 45 degrees. And there's a hole here. So I just take this same screw, and which has got a shoulder on it, and I drop it in there, and that sets my minus 45. Now, this isn't accurate to thousandths of an inch, but then the saw isn't either. So I've done the best I can for that, and it comes out pretty good. The second thing I do is replace, well, I place this cylinder in the track. So I take this same bolt that was used to anchor the fixed jaw, and I use it here. Secondly, this is actually even though it's an example of a miter, it's also what I use as what I'll call a secondary V movable jaw. How's that for a mouthful? So you can see that in this direction needs two pieces, and you'll see why that's useful in a minute. So I have one piece on this side and the piece I'm going to cut on this side, and it's good to drop in a little spacer on the end there. So what I do, so here, this is I'm going to cut some fresh metal. I take everything and I snug it up with my fingers, Oh, wait a minute. I didn't tighten this down enough. I didn't tighten it down at all. Okay. Can't have that sliding. So everything is snug. Let me bring this down again and make sure I'm cutting fresh metal. Okay. So when I tighten the movable jaw, it applies pressure to this filler bar and to this L-shaped secondary movable jaw, and it locks that piece in place. I'll just go part way through so you can get the idea. Okay, so there's the saw cut. I can cut all the way through that way. Now, let's say I want to cut the other side of it. I just drop it in on this side, and I'm going to carry over that spacer and take that scrap piece on this side. And admittedly, it's close because there's not much that I'm hanging on to there. So what I'm going to do is cheat and slide this back so I've got a bit more metal I'm hanging on to. Okay. Again, I make sure everything is pressed in tight. And you can see I can cut that plus 45 now. So it's a real quick way, and all I did was rotate it. Should have shown you with a longer piece. It would have looked a little more convincing. And then when I'm done, just take out that secondary movable jaw. Take out this pivot. And slide that back to being at 90. So the advantage of this is if you're just cutting a bunch of plus and minus 45s for mitering, you're not resetting up the saw. You only do that when you're going back to 90, which you probably are going to do that in batches too.